Take a look at a typical situation. I call it the Mike and Rita example. 2006, their house was worth $270. They've got a mortgage for $250, credit card debt $40,000. Financial crisis comes along, the housing market collapses, things change. The value of their house now is $150,000. The mortgage is still $250. Credit card debt has grown and is now $75,000. Mike and Rita are in a financial crisis at this point. They're $100,000 underwater in their home. They've got a lot of credit card debt. Let's assume this is their budget and assume they're making $7,000 a month after tax. If they continue to make their mortgage payment and their credit card payments, at the end of the month, they're negative $825 a month. That explains why the credit card debt is going up. If they could somehow get rid of the mortgage payment or reduce it down to a house worth $150, like their house is actually worth, and get rid of the credit card debt, their situation changes. That's the revised column. In this situation, they go from negative $825 to positive $2,500 a month. Then I deduct $1,000 for quality of life money because there's no quality of life over here, and they're still saving $1,600 a month. Now let's look and see what that means 10 and 20 years from now. If Mike and Rita don't do anything, like the banks want them to do, and they go ahead and they pay that $250,000 mortgage and they struggle through the credit card debt, at the end of 10 years, they're going to have a net worth of negative $109,000. Right now, their negative net worth is negative $175 because of the house. In 20 years, after paying for the house, giving the house a little bit of appreciation, it goes up from $150 to $198, paying down that mortgage, reducing the credit card debt, they're going to have a net worth of $29,000. Now let's look and compare if they could get rid of the credit card debt and get into the equivalent of a $150,000 mortgage. Dramatic difference. In that situation, in 10 years, they're going to have a positive net worth of $294,000. They'll have saved $258,000. In 20 years, they'll have savings of $727,000. The mortgage will be down to $85,000. The house will be worth more at $198,000. They'll have $840,000 net worth. That's saving that $1,575 a month at 6% interest, tax deferred. All the difference in the world. So what should Mike and Rita's goal be? To me, it's very obvious. The goal is you have to get rid of the credit. You can't afford to pay that credit card debt, and you can't pay for air. You can't pay $250,000 for a house that's only worth $150,000. That leaves you to the goal. The goal is you do not allow your future earnings, the next 10 and 20 years, to be wasted on satisfying debts of the past. That's the key to financial crisis management, in my view. How you get there is not always the easiest, is what we do, and that's the difficult question, but we use what we call the tools of financial crisis management in order to get to that place. But you start with a goal. What I find is people come into our office, they don't have the goal. They have never thought about 10 years and 20 years. They're thinking about, do I make my mortgage payment next month? Do I make it in 2 months? What happens to my credit score? What about the credit card companies who are calling? Do I take my money out of my 401k and pay off the credit cards? You've got to stop. You've got to take a deep breath, and you've got to think. Where am I going to be in 10 years, in 20 years? Am I going to have a net worth of $30,000 because I do all the things that everyone else tells me to do? Or am I going to have a net worth of $850,000 because I've made the right decisions for myself and for my family by protecting my future income? To me, that is the critical decision to be made.